Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 202 of Games My Mom Found. And who's trying to save their boyfriend with me tonight?
It should have been 203. You messed up. Start over.
Okay. I'd have to switch things around. But you know, that would have been better. But hey, this is not the first time that I screwed up with numbers. We did 13,
13. Yep.
For episode 114.
Anyway, I'm Michael Hughes.
And I'm Barry Carenza.
And welcome back. And Barry, where can people find you at?
You could find me on Twitter at Hawk Hellfire. You could find companies I work for, Nintendo Fuse, on Twitter at Nintendo Fuse or NintendoFuse.com. And you can find Premium Edition Games at PremiumEditionGames.com, where you can get our latest pre-orders, Raji, They Bleed Pixels, Love 3, and Eagle Island Twist right now. On Twitter, we're at Premium Edition 1, and everywhere else, Premium Edition Games.
I just want to play They Bleed Pixels.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
It's up my alley.
Now that we keep saying Twitter, I wonder if someone listened to this 2 years from now, they'll be like, Twitter, oh yeah, remember that thing?
Remember that thing? Well, see, on November 16th, They Bleed Pixels physical goes up for pre-order by us, so get the physical copy, support the developer.
I'll wish list it on Steam.
You and your aversion to physical games.
I can't do it anymore. I don't know why. Like, I have a huge collection to the left of me of 360 stuff that I can't get rid of, but I don't want to play either, so that just kind of fell off.
That's about right.
But speaking of physical games, I don't own this either physically. We are here to talk about Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble for Super Nintendo, published by Nintendo, developed by Rare, and came out in 1996?
Yep. November.
Damn, that's late.
Yeah, a week from now, as of this recording. We're recording it on 11/11, so it came out November 18th, 1996.
Wow, I actually planned something right for a change on the show without ever even trying.
But had it been next week, it would have been an episode that ended in 3, and you would have recorded on the day. Well, it would have been Friday. That's a moot point.
But see, this will come out around the time of the anniversary.
True. Oh, yeah, that's true.
96, isn't PS1 out around this time?
PS1 came out in 95, and the N64 launched September of 1996. So the N64 was already out when this game came out.
Damn.
In fact, Wrigley has an N64 in the game.
Oh, yeah. You can hear the Mario 64 playing.
Damn, that is late. I guess I didn't really realize it because I never played this back in the day. I rented this back in the day at some point, played a little bit, but I didn't own it. I had 1 and 2, but I never bothered with this one, and now I know why, because 64 was out, PS1 was out, I was moving on.
The Saturn was out too, if anyone remembers that.
I have never played the Saturn.
Oh my god.
One day. I keep telling myself one day I'm going to emulate games on there.
Yes, emulate. It's not quite the same.
I'm going to buy one.
I did own this. I don't remember how I came about it, but I think I still have my copy somewhere in a box somewhere.
And Barry, what is your history with this? Did you have a copy of this back then?
I did not, because I didn't have a Super, but I played at my friend's house. And I remember when this came out, because the N64 was big. We rented the N64. He had a 64 too, but I remember he got it, and he brought the manual to school, and that was my first experience with it, reading the manual in the cafeteria. And then I went over for the weekend, and I got, he was showing it to me, and I was like, oh my god, this looks so cool with the open world and all the new animal buddies, and it looks great. And then I never really got to play it until much later.
The
Okay.
creepy animatronic bears.
Yeah, the bears. Because the problem is with the 64 out, when you went to your friends' houses, it was always 64 games, Wave Race at the time, and eventually Mario Kart and a bunch of other multiplayer games we played, and that always took the attention away from, especially a single player game too. It's really harder to play with friends over.
Yeah, it's just I didn't realize this was so late. I mean, that probably because this game is hated out of the 3 games, which it doesn't deserve.
I wouldn't say it's hated.
It's disliked.
It's the black sheep for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's better. You're right. I'm being more. I kind of had a bad taste in my mouth about this game. I have never really played it much. I messed with the ROM at some point. Like I messed with many ROMs. You play it for 5 minutes. You go, oh, that's nice. You turn it off and never go back. And I had just been meaning to, and then I was like, finally, like, fuck it, let's play it. I want to cover it. And like this game doesn't deserve any of the bad reputation it gets. I mean, yes, it comes out late in the lifespan, and 64 is out, coming out. PS1's out, but it's still, this is a very fun platformer that really does expand, I feel, on Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2.
Yeah. Like I told you when we were talking about it, last week, whatever, it kind of hits that perfect spot of difficulty where it's not too hard, not too easy, whereas two's pretty rough,
Yes.
and 1's just jank.
I love 1, but yes. 2 is really difficult.
This game kind of falls into the same similar trap that a lot of other late Super Nintendo games got, where the development team that was known for the property have moved on to another game, in this case Banjo-Kazooie, and a B team picked up this game. And we saw that before with, like, for example, Mega Man X. You know, X1 and X2, and then the team went on and did X4, while a different team did X3. And even though I love X3, another late SNES game, there are a lot of people that feel it's the weakest. So you're seeing that as well with DKC3. I love X3.
I love X4, so.
I love X1. 2 and 3 I don't enjoy, but that's because they're too damn hard.
But see, that's one of the reasons is the development team moves on to a new platform. With Capcom, it was to the PlayStation, and with Rare, it was to the N64. So we're seeing that where it's like, all right, here, just make another game. It's the older system. You already have all the assets. You have the engine. You know, go at it. And I think a lot of people have already moved on, and that's a sad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It makes perfect sense. I think you see it more now in gaming, where people will make games for an older system. But back then, people really moved on completely. Like, people are like, oh, I got the new system. Who cares about the old games? They don't. Well,
you're also seeing back then games weren't backwards compatible versus now. Like, if you made a PS4 game right now, people can still enjoy it on PS5. You know, if you made an Xbox One game right now, you can still experience it on the Series X. And I'm assuming whenever the Switch 2 comes out, if you made a Switch game, you could still experience it on the Switch 2.
What if you made a PS3 game right when PS4 came out?
Well, that would be you're screwed then. It's like making a Wii U game after the Switch. Like, you're screwed. But
console lifespans are way longer now than they were back then too, because like every 5 or 6 years you had the next new thing, and like the 360 era was around for a long time before their successors came out.
Well, that's also because technology got so good that the jump was so minor. And I know some people will say, like, oh, I could look at a 360 and an Xbox One game and be like, oh, the Xbox One game is clearly better, but it's not the same as like the NES to the Super Nintendo, or the Super Nintendo to the 64, or the PlayStation stuff. It's not that big of a leap. And even now, the PS5, some of the biggest PS5 games are also PS4 games and run on the PS4. And they're perfectly playable on the PS4 and look great. And the same with the Xbox One, the Series X. So you're not seeing those huge leaps anymore. So it's more like an iPhone, right? Or it's any cell phone. It's more like an iteration, even though it's called something new. It's really just an iteration, as opposed to prior, the N64 to the SNES. Like, they were very different consoles, different architecture, different chipset. And that's you mentioned the PS3. The PS3 was notorious for having a different chipset, and that's why like emulation is tougher, and that's why porting is tougher. So and even during the generation, most games were developed in the 360 and then ported to the PS3 poorly, and that's why they ran ranwares. So I think you're seeing product of an older time when we did do that. I'm sure kids 10 years from now listening will be like, man, I have the PlayStation 6 and I've had it for the last 15 years or whatever. like whatever. They just don't need to upgrade or PlayStation 6. It'll be the PlayStation 5 version 3.8732 or whatever. That's just the way we seem to be going.
People are super excited to buy GTA 5 again on that thing.
Oh, they're perfect. GTA 5 is a game milked on every generation.
Yep, but it just ain't gonna stop.
Ain't gonna stop. Especially now that GTA 6 leaked. It's like, oh, you didn't like that? Well, here's GTA 5 again.
You can buy it again.
It's like Skyrim.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the Super Nintendo version of Skyrim to compete with DKC3?
I'd play that.
I believe that. But I was surprised with this game. I mean, I know you say it's a B team, but to me, it didn't feel like that. I actually found this game more enjoyable than I find Donkey Kong Country 2. I like Donkey Kong Country 2, don't get me wrong, but that game is super damn challenging. And this game didn't have, I cheated both of them, so I can't exactly speak. Not like I played these legit. Both of them I had to rewind on, and, I was able to enjoy those features. But like with this one, it didn't feel as challenging as 2 does. Like 2 I once beat with save states. I remember being a hell of a time trying to get through that game. Like it was just that very difficult.
I feel like that's because 2 and 1 as well were more platforming, challenging games versus 3, which was still platforming, but it has a lot of puzzle elements. Like to get the DK coins, from the shields, it was a puzzle element thrown in there where you didn't really need to worry about that nearly as much in the first 2 games.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. We have to get the steel barrel to take out I can't remember the enemy's name. Anyway. The enemy that's holding the DK coin, you have to hit them from behind, and like Barry said, it's always a little puzzle to it. And like even finding the barrel sometimes is a puzzle in itself.
Yeah, you have to bring the animal buddy with you to a certain point. I liked what they did. I thought it was cool.
It's kind of like, using another example with A Team and B Team, Sonic, right? You took Sonic 1, and it was a fast, exhilarating experience, and then the Japanese team went on to do Sonic CD, and the American team went on to do Sonic 2. And if you look at Sonic 2, it's more of Sonic 1, right? It's hold right to win, pretty much. And if you look at Sonic CD, there's all that exploration and the past and the future, and like it's a very different style game. And they're both great Sonic games, but it depends what you like. So it's kind of like that with Donkey Kong. If you really enjoy the first 2, will you enjoy the third one? Absolutely. I don't see why not. But if you're expecting the same kind of platforming in every level, you're going to be a little disappointed when you have to suddenly stop and think, what do I do next?
I don't remember if 1 or 2 had nearly the amount of like bonus coins that this game has.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
No, because this one's got like its own currency with the bear coins.
Okay, because there's a lot of stuff like that in this game, and I was surprised how much there was, and annoyed.
Do you know is this the same crew that went on to do DK64? Because that would kind of explain some.
No, I don't know if actually about that. It might be. For DK60, I like DK60.
I have never played it yet.
Like if you play it now with save states, and like apparently there's a mod that you could play with it where you could just swap to to whatever Kong you want instantly. I think the game would be infinitely better. But playing it back in the day on the N64 with none of that, I still 100% of the game, and I had a blast doing it because, and here is really where the change in time period happens. Back then, and I think we actually discussed this in Chrono Cross, back then, there was a lot less games out. So, and we were all younger, naturally. So when you got a game as a kid, that was your game for the next 2 months or whatever until you can get another game. So you played the hell out of it. You cherished it. You did whatever you could. Where now there's like 100 games released every week. It's like overload. Where if you want to take a game and you want to platinum it or you want to 100% it, you absolutely can. But at the same time, there's like the FOMO of, well, like 100 of the games came out and I'm not playing those. And if I play one of those next week, then I'm not playing the 100 games that came out next week. And there's always that eternal backlog. So I think as adults, we have, I'm not going to say less attention span, but there's just more things pulling at us in just in terms of games than if you factor in life and family, kids, and work and everything else. That's obviously pulling away from your time. But I think that's where the older games, the collectathons, really shone. Because you had the time to do it, and you needed something to keep you for a month or two to take up that time. Where now it's like, oh, I have to do what? And some people will be like, sure, bring it on. And other people will like, nope, I'm just going to run right to the goal, beat this game, and move on to the next.
Hey, I know how that feels.
I'm guilty of it too.
I mean, that's how I play every game for this show in general. I always just move on, get through as fast as I can and move on. It's just partly who I am in general as a gamer.
I used to play games like on normal difficulty and sometimes even hard or the challenging difficulty. And now I play games on the easiest story difficulty because there's just too many games. And I want to experience the story and have fun with it. And I don't want to throw my head against the wall, against the boss 100 times over because there's so many. Look, at the time of this recording, God of War and Sonic came out. Next week is Pokemon. The week before that was Harvestella. And that's just like 4 games. And that's not even counting all the tons of other games that came out. The Atari 50 came out. There's so many games. And there's not enough time to play them all. So it's...
look at some... Like any Ubisoft open world game, you just open that map and like, man, I do not have time for this.
And a lot of times you get bored. Like it's how you start out like, I'm going to be the champion. I'm going to get everything. And after like 10, 20 hours of doing it, you're just like, can I just finish this now?
Yep. You just move on.
I'm tired.
Yep. My example I always go to is I played Ghost Recon Wildlands for like 10, 15 hours, and I pull up the list of all the targets you're supposed to take out, and I'm like not even halfway through it, and I'm just like, good fucking God, I've got to do anything else right now.
Those are the games like you have to be able to divorce yourself from stuff and just move on from it.
Well, sometimes games do overstay their welcome, and you have to either finish it or just say, I played enough that I have a story to tell. I feel I've gotten my money's worth, and I'm gonna move on. And especially this time of year, the holidays, it's mad rush. Game's coming out, and that's the perfect time because that's exactly when this game came out. And I feel it just got buried. It's the equivalent of a game coming out on the eShop or the Steam store or whatever. Now that doesn't get traction and just gets buried. It's the equivalent of that, but with a physical release
in a different time.
With a major IP too. I mean,
it's wild to say that about a first-party Nintendo game.
Yeah.
Well, they were different back then. I mean, it was a much different time.
Well, first party was always the quality, and especially you're talking the N64, the beginning of the 64 era, which was known where Nintendo and Rare carried that system. Like there were some good third parties games, but there were few and far between. And that was perfect for a kid because you had a game every couple months, and look, a Nintendo game every couple months.
That's all you can afford.
Yeah, that's all you can afford. I didn't. It didn't bother me because it was perfect. But that's where it was like all the things you get in Donkey Kong 64. I was like, this is gonna take me months. This is perfect. Yes.
This game to complete doesn't take super long.
No,
I didn't do it one day.
Wait, you did it in a day?
You did cheat, but
I've done it before, and I probably didn't do it in a day. But yes, I did use a little rewind here and there.
Did you 100% it in a day?
103% it.
Damn.
It was
how many hours?
My playtime said 3.5. It was probably closer to like 5 or 6. It was put on a couple movies on the other monitor and just play DKC3 all day.
Wow, though that's 6 hours to 100%. Nowadays would be like I'll wait for it to go on sale.
Hey, like what about 100? Let's 100% Hyrule Warriors. Come on.
Oh God, that game you'll never do. That game.
I've seen the completionist has a video about that.
Yep.
Age of Calamity, I'm 100%ed. That one's much easier. But the original Hyrule Warriors, forget about it.
Yeah, Stray was one I could think of that it came out not too long ago, and it was only like a 4-hour game, and like people were kind of pissed that they paid $40 for that sort of experience. But back then, like Mike said, it was just a different time.
Well, see,
games were made short but made long, so that way you couldn't just rent them. I mean, I bring it up all the time, but I mean, this is probably another of those type of situations. At least this game is not stupid with like things like Fester Quest where they just don't make any sense, on purpose.
I feel like we're definitely at the end of that era because rentals were kind of going away.
Yeah.
96.
Yeah, it's starting to.
They were games weren't made at this period because of the rentals. Yes, rentals were still there. There's Blockbuster exclusives for the 64. Blockbuster was still there, but and I think the PlayStation as well. But the mentality of we need to make this game extra challenging so that someone can't beat it in a rental. That mentality, I think, was gone, and I don't think Nintendo really cared at this point because their IPs carried, and they probably looked at this and said, this is going to sell because people loved the first two, and the first two sold really well. So what's not, you don't really have to do much.
This game plays mostly like 1 and 2. I mean, you have Dixie from 2. The hairspin. Kitty is just pretty much like Donkey Kong from 1, essentially. Doesn't play much. He doesn't play any differently. He's just annoying.
We were talking about how this game is hated. Well, I agree with Barry that it's not. The game's not hated. Kitty is definitely hated. People do not like Kitty Kong.
I had no problem with him.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's the black sheep of the Kong family, and there's Lanky and Chunky still that are also black sheep. At least Tiny got into other games.
Dixie doesn't show up in any other stuff, does she?
Yeah,
she's in Tropical Freeze at least.
Okay, I have never played another Donkey Kong game really, except for Jungle Beat after Donkey Kong Country 2 and now 3. Like fell off.
Isn't she in the Barrel Blast as well, the racing game? And she's in Diddy Kong Racing's the DS remake.
Oh, really? I didn't play that either.
Because they couldn't use Banjo or Conker.
Oh, good point.
So they used Dixie and Tiny, I believe, to replace her.
Oh, okay. Dixie makes sense. She deserves it. Okay. I mean, I think the cast is good in this game. The two characters that you play as, I think I mean, they changed a lot of the animal buddies in this game too. Like you don't have Rambi, but I mean, which I like Rambi. I know that you don't need him, but I like him and the frog.
Winky.
Yeah, I like that frog a lot.
This one that spoiled Rambi's perfect attendance award because he's in every other Donkey Kong Country game except for this one.
Oh, he was in 2?
Yeah,
I think he's in 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he's in 2. He's in 64.
Okay, the urchin, not the urchin, the swordfish.
Engard.
He's in here. Is he in 2 also? I can't remember.
Don't remember.
It's been a year.
I thought he was.
And then I like Engard. I mean, the elephant. I don't care for the elephant at all.
Ellie's fine.
I couldn't figure out how to suck into water. You have to press L because that was the only key.
It spells out bananas.
I don't have time to read bananas.
Reading.
I did not. I was hitting button like, how the hell do I suck up water? I saw him doing a speedrun. I know I can do it. And then finally I just hit the right button. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Rambi and Engard are both in 2.
Okay. And then you get the spider back, which I do like the spider.
Squitter.
I like Squitter, and I don't care for the squawk at all.
Parallel.
I wasn't big on squawks. And
The parallel bird was. I don't know why it's here.
Squawks and quacks.
Yeah,
Great.
Squawk's better. I don't like the purple bird because all he can do is pick up barrels. He's kind of useless.
Yeah, you only have to use them in a couple stages.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool. I mean, I'm glad that they changed it up and tried to put in some new animals and a few new features for a game that is a lot of the same type of game.
It's been a long time since. Well, I guess not that long since I played 2. But don't you ride the animals in 2? I know you do in 1.
No, you become them in 2 also.
And this one you exclusively become them through the barrels.
2's the same. You don't ride them in 2 either, except for On Guard. I think you ride them in 2. I can't remember. I know the snake you don't for sure. That fucking snake.
See, I think if you look at games just in general, it's almost like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. So if they just took DKC2 and they just changed the levels around and released it as DKC3, some people would be like, yes, more of the same. And other people would be like, this is the same game.
Nope.
Yeah.
We wanted something different. And what they did is they gave us something different. They added new animal buddies. They put some originality. And for those people that wanted something different, they got it. And for those that wanted more of the same, were a little bit disappointed. And it's unfortunate because that's just the way any type of gaming sequel is. Now, except now, sometimes it'd be like, well, this could have just been a DLC expansion pack thrown in.
I was happy with how this game turned out. I liked it I felt like it mimicked enough of 1 and 2, but was also enough of a brand new experience to me. Like I really had a good time running through the levels and just playing the game itself. And I was like, this is fun. It wasn't as much fun as 2 was for me when I first played it last time for the show, but
it's definitely a brighter, more colorful game than 2, and probably even 1. Like the environments aren't quite as varied, but 2 is a substantially darker game, like even tonally.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I almost feel like they overcompensated in some spots in 3 because of that, which is not the first time games have done that.
I unfortunately didn't play this the way I played 2, as I was insinuating. Like when I played 2, I got high when I was in Vegas, and that was the best way to play that game, by being high on edibles, and I was not for this playthrough. Missing out. Hey, Donkey Kong Country is one of those games that really like it with all the music and everything and the bright colors. It really worked well for that. And I was in Vegas, so it was. But I also played this on the Switch because it's on. I figure I pay for the stupid Nintendo Online thing. I might as well make use of it for a change.
Yeah, that's good.
Because
I just have this image of you now in a hotel room in Vegas playing DKC2. High, just on the floor, going, "I beat it," and it's on the title screen.
But it was great. I was laying in bed. My wife was off went to go see a Magic Mike show, and I'm just sitting there. I got my snacks and just did my edibles, and I'm just sitting there in Vegas playing Donkey Kong Country 2. All things you can do in Vegas, and that's what I'm doing. Playing Donkey Kong Country 2. I don't want to gamble. I don't want to be anywhere. I just want to play my game.
Yeah, I'd probably be doing the same thing. So,
but that also was much cheaper than going anywhere near Vegas. Better to just stay in your hotel room. That's an experience. But I mean, it's something that's always stuck with me too. That made 2 getting stand out more. But this game, I just felt like it was like, you are right. It's so pretty. I mean, the worlds aren't as varied as they are in 1 or 2, but I like the way they did it. I like it that it has that fake, world map in a way that you drive around and go to different levels. Like, I like that.
Yeah,
well, it's not even a fake. There's extra stuff hidden there too, so it does make sense.
Yeah, the banana bird caves are all over the goddamn place. But the team kind of got a little too ambitious because, like, 1 and 2, you go from point to point to point, just like a Mario game or whatever. And this one, they kind of give you some full 360 movement, and man, does it like to get hung up on every little piece of geometry when you're moving around.
But it was cool. I mean, I did like the little vehicles that you get, and I like the world map thing that you drive around. I thought that was an interesting, something new to add to here. I mean, it doesn't really affect gameplay other than the birds, but it was cool that it was there.
I really like it.
It's a natural evolution.
Yeah, definitely.
And it does a good job of not letting you get too far ahead, because you have to, beat bosses to upgrade your ship to get the new ships. You can't just, go to the hard world all of a sudden. I think you can skip maybe one world or so and kind of do them out of order, but for the most part, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, like the first two areas are on the same island, and the second boss gives you a patch, and they use that to patch up the inner tube to make a hovercraft, and that lets you jump over the rocks, and that's how you get to the next set of worlds. So like Mike said, they kind of gatekeep you a little bit.
It was a cool concept, I thought, and
Funky
it's cool to see Funky again. I do kind of like Funky Kong. I can't remember. I think he's in 2 also. I played 2 a year ago. I think it was a year ago. I don't remember at all.
I know he's in Mario Kart Wii.
He's in a lot of games.
Turning Little John.
They tried stuff with this. Hey, at least they don't make you have to pay to save in this game like Donkey Country 2.
Yeah.
You have to use the banana coins.
I never understood that.
That was stupid. I mean, you have bear coins, but I think the bear coins are set how many you get in the game. I don't think they're...
You can farm it infinitely, but you don't need to, because I think you only use them twice, 2 or 3 times. You buy the seashell, you buy the mirror, and I think you buy the mirror. And I think you buy something back. Maybe it's the mirror again.
I didn't mess with any of that. I didn't buy any. It's all for like the trading side quests and stuff that I didn't care about. So
yeah, with the bear brothers.
I didn't mess with the bears. I would talk to them just when the game made me, but I didn't have anything to do with them. I wasn't going for 3%. I was just going for beat the game and move on. %.
Sounds like you.
Mm-hmm.
The game's my mom found %.
Yeah, I mean that's what I do in the show. I mean, I had fun. I mean, I got to experience. I mean, but also if I would have played this game when I was younger, I never would have done all the things. I never, like, in any game, I can't go for all the bonuses. Like, this game has 2 or 3 bonus barrels in every level almost, I think it is, something like that.
Yeah, but I think 1 and 2 were like that too.
Yeah, I always skip them in 1 and 2 also. I don't think 2, as I know, has a secret world, but 1 doesn't have anything, I don't think.
No, this one also has a secret world that you need the bonus coins for.
And then you unlock a secret boss fight, just like 2, which I'm glad it's there.
Yeah, it's always nice to have something for 100% completion, not just doing it for the sake of doing it.
And this is before the days of achievements where they go, here you go, have an achievement.
I had achievements.
I would rather have, an actual bonus world and bonus content than an achievement.
Yeah, definitely. Give me a Star Road any day.
I was an achievement whore at one point with 360 where I just loved freaking achievements, but that day is long gone. So
I think many people were, and that's deflated.
Yeah,
I played so many bad games
new.
Just for achievement.
It was shiny. It was new. It was like, ooh, what's this? But completing a bad game and struggling to get a platinum as your badge is great if that's what your thing is. But I would rather do that 100% and get something for it. Give me a reason to strive for it.
Mike, what's the worst game you played specifically for achievements?
I actually can't remember off the top of my head. I know there's got to be some bad ones. I know I bought games specifically for achievements that I never played, but one of the ones that I was a bad game that I actually really liked was Return of Matt Hazard.
Oh wow, I remember that.
I like that game a lot. But I know there's some bad ones. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I play. I mean, it's been so many years since I was an achievement whore.
I think Avatar is one I hear people talk about a lot.
I did that. It's good. I only played. You only have to play like 10 minutes and get, or 5 minutes, and you get all 1,000 achievement points.
I think Ninth Museum.
I never played that
one.
I haven't.
I remember when the 360 came out, everyone was hunting for King Kong and renting it because you can get all 1,000 really easily. And
it's also a really good game. So
yeah, that's one you keep threatening to put on the show.
I played it at some point, so I'm in no rush to go back to it. But yeah, I like that game a lot. But no, like Donkey Kong Country 3, like with all the bonus barrels, it was just too much for me to even want to mess with because I just don't care for that. I mean, I like what they give you in this game, but I just couldn't bring myself to be interested, to want to bother with it. It just wasn't. I mean, they are creative. Like, I mean, they do have a lot of different. I mean, yes, they usually are, find the coin, get the green bananas, but from what I saw, because I watched a speedrun of this 103% speedrun the guy does in 2 hours, and it looks very cool to see what they have.
Wow.
Yeah, it's also like the world record. I mean not world record, but he's really down. He is like the record holder. So Void.
That is
Yeah,
insane.
I can't compete with that.
But I mean, it was really cool to watch, just to see all the insanity that this game has to offer, and there is a lot to it. I mean, and you get a lot. Like you have trading side quests with the bears. You have to get different items and talk to different bears, and you trade. You have the bear coin that you use to get stuff. We were talking like for the trading side. I mean, there's so much to this game, and that is super cool. Especially like we were saying earlier, if you only got a few games here and there when you were a kid, like this is a game that you could have messed around with and just kept playing, and it doesn't. It never really. I mean, I cheated, but it feels like it wouldn't have been impossibly hard to play. Like this feels like a game you could force your way through eventually and get good.
Definitely, because like I said, I absolutely 103% in my physical copy back in the day.
Yeah, you also beat Fester's Quest legit multiple times, so
I did do that.
You're just
that was a little more recent though.
Yeah. But I liked it. I mean, I liked how much stuff was in this game. I didn't experience it or felt the need to, but I'm happy that it exists. And I'm okay with a game being, taking parts of another game and using the code they already have, using assets they already have. Like one of my favorite Arkham game is Arkham Origins. They're one of my favorites. I really love that game. And that game's just a rehash of the other two before it.
Majora's Mask is notorious for reusing all the assets.
And that game is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, just because it reused assets doesn't mean it's going to be a bad, I mean, some people think that, but like this game proves it. I mean, yes, they added new stuff and new boss fights that are okay. But yes.
I was going to say the truth is there's no reason to reinvent the wheel.
No.
And if you're going to do something revolutionary, you're going to do it. Like Breath of the Wild was brand new engine and it was revolutionary. Tears of the Kingdom, no secret, is using the Breath of the Wild engine because there's a sequel. Why not? The engine's already there. That's what they did. And they did that a lot in the Super Nintendo generation. A lot of the games that had sequels, I mentioned the Mega Man X games before. Those are all using the same engine. Final Fight used the same engines. So why not? Why not take what works and just improve upon it?
And I'd rather have this than have like The Last of Us being remade again with the same game. I know there's differences to it, but still, I'd rather have something like that.
And like you said earlier, Barry, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you can't do everything. Can't be everything to all people. Like that's just the nature of sequels. Like you're either going to change it and people are going to like it and some are going to hate it, or you're going to leave it the same. It's going to be the opposite. But I guess like the new God of War, people are kind of like, wow, this is a lot of the same stuff as the first game. It's just with the different story behind it.
Sometimes that's enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at talking about Nintendo franchises, F-Zero. People have been clamoring for another F-Zero, and Nintendo is like, well, we're not going to do it unless we have something new to bring to the table. And fans are just like, give us just more tracks. We're fine. We'll be happy with that. And I
look
think
at Mario Kart.
Yeah, well, they've been Mario Kart is always iterated though. Every game added something new.
But I mean, like the new one for Wii U that they re-released for the Switch and then just kept adding to it.
Well, no, but they did the anti-gravity stuff in 8, which was brand new. It was the F-Zero stuff.
Okay, I've never played.
Yeah, and 7 had the gliders and the underwater segments that were added to it. And they've always done new things to change it up. Sometimes more subtle than others, but they try. And that's like right now they're doing extra courses, but they're all older courses just being brought back, which is cool. It's a little bonus stuff. But that's why there hasn't been a Mario Kart 9 because there's no reason to.
Yeah, they don't
Mario
need to.
Kart 8 is selling like crazy. So, but that's just it. If they wanted to do a brand new DK, and look, they did Returns and they did Tropical Freeze with Retro, and Tropical Freeze used a lot of the stuff they learned in Returns. So why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's no shame in a game like that.
And sometimes
Sports games.
That's a whole different thing. And those are broken. They just don't care.
Yeah, that's a whole can of worms.
They just don't need to.
Legacy Edition. We're just using the same game, updating the roster, and selling it to you for $60.
My favorite
will charge
thing is
you.
FIFA on the Switch, where it's been the exact same game the last 3 years. So they just changed the number, and IGN keeps lowering their score. It's like it's the same review minus 1 point.
Yeah, because they call it Legacy Edition. That's their excuse. Like they pretty much say we're not going to spend the extra time and money to update this engine for the Switch, we're literally just going to update the roster and use the same engine, and it's virtually the same game with a new number. Not even adding any new modes or anything. It's as lazy as you can get.
I'm so glad I don't play sports games.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I mean, this game also has the story, which nobody's playing this for the story, but there is a story that continues essentially Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. I mean, the whole story is that Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong were kidnapped by K. Rool, the same villain. But I do like how the Kremlins in this game are very different. Like, I mean, sure, they're just kind of, tweaked already existing designs. Like, instead of having the Hornet in Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2, now you have buzzsaws, which are essentially Hornets but have saws on their ass instead.
Well, it wasn't just K. Rool, though, because they tried to do a Mega Man 4, 5, 6 thing where it's not K. Rool, it's Chaos.
Chaos.
And then, of course, it turns out the man behind the curtain is, of course, K. Rool.
Oh, that big robot thing that you fight, that was supposed to be the villain? Oh, I didn't pay any attention. That was just
it's not K. Rool, it's Baron K. Rolenstein.
That's true. He changed his name slightly.
Okay, that is a very Mega Man 4 thing.
Yeah, Mega Man 4, 5, and 6 all did the
Mr.
same
X.
thing. Mr. X, Dr. Cossack, and Proto Man.
Breakman, yeah.
It's all Wily at the end anyway.
But it's so good.
But yeah, so I mean, they tried to do something different. I mean, what can they do? K. Rool, and they'd even changed K. Rool. They made him different. They made his boss mechanics different. But when did DKC2 come out? Do you remember when that came out? Like, what was it? What was the development time difference between these two? Like, Majora's Mask was 2 years after Ocarina of Time, which was an amazing game to be done in 2 years. And obviously, they reused the engine, so they were able to do it. 95. A year. So this was done in a year. That's incredible.
That's very short.
That's why the A team went on to do Banjo and had time to work on the new system. And the B team was like, hey, do another game in a year because this is going to be the last year that the Super Nintendo is going to have any type of life. So I think for a year, what they did, they actually added more and innovated more than they really needed to. And I would expect with a year development.
Yeah, I mean, this had to have been done super fast then.
Yeah.
Like it's not the jump from 1 to 2 with 2 to 3, but like you said, within a year, it's still really impressive what they did.
I wasn't a fan of the boss fights in this game. Like, the first boss fight is kind of cool. You fight a giant barrel where you knock bugs into his mouth, essentially.
Make him belch ya.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was kind of cool. I did not like the giant spider fight. I actually didn't know what to do for a while. And it took me a bit where I realized I had to take the barrels and throw them in his face. I just kept throwing the barrels at him. I'm like, I don't think I'm hurting him. I wasn't. And they weren't my favorite. Like, I think I like 2's boss fights better than I like this one. I mean, they're fine for what they are. They just weren't as much fun to me, I felt.
But they're better than the first games.
I was just going to say they're all better than Dumb Drum, where you just have to avoid him and kill the enemies he pops out.
I had a really hard time with that sea urchin thing that you had to fight, though. When you fight as Ungard, I had a really hard time. I don't know why, but like I couldn't. I just kept getting murdered. I rewind, but I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to do this? And I watched a speedrun of it, and he just sits at the top and just hits him as soon as he opens up and beats him. I'm like, oh,
yeah. The timing's a little weird on that one.
I would have had a really hard time if I was playing legit.
Apparently, the GBA version had a boss specific to it named Croctopus.
Oh,
Places Barbos is the boss of that area.
Also, the third game on the GBA had an exclusive soundtrack too from David Wise.
Oh, interesting.
That's cool.
Because the soundtrack for this game was Weiss and another girl, I forget, Jessica, I think. And it was like a deeper soundtrack, and the GBA speakers couldn't handle that, so they had to redo the soundtrack for the GBA port. So it's a new soundtrack with some remixes from David Wise.
Man, that's one point that I have to take against this game. Is as much as I played it compared to 1 and 2, the music in 1 and 2 is way more memorable than this one.
What I say? What I always say?
Yeah,
this game had music.
See, I can feel and agree there, but I also think there's an inherent bias there. And what I mean by that is more people played 1 and 2, therefore more people heard them. And while the songs are great, they're excellent songs, because of that, they're also more memorable. If more people played 3, I think more of those songs will also fall into that same pantheon.
True.
But when DK1 was all over the place, and especially first levels, right? First levels of those games are always the most memorable. Mario. If someone said, say Super Mario music or hum Super Mario music, I guarantee you at least 95% of the people are going to hum World 1-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what most people hear.
Because that's the most played level, and it's the song most people can associate with. You're going to see the same thing with DKC. So DKC 2 and the DKC 3, less people played. It's less memorable at that point because there's less people.
That's fair.
Yeah,
So
that is.
I think there is a fair bias there, unfortunately.
I listened to
saying-
some because I just don't care, but I enjoyed what I heard. It was fine.
It's hard to compete with Gangplank Galleon, though.
Oh, you gang. Oh, that's such a good song.
I wonder what songs from this game made it into Smash. Smash is my measuring stick for all things on how important they are.
Well, which one? Because it's different. Some is there any songs removed, or have there been any songs removed?
I can't imagine Ultimate didn't have.
It had to have something.
Oh yeah, something. I'm just wondering, like, if there was a song maybe in Brawl that wasn't in for Ultimate or whatever.
Yeah.
But what you could use Ultimate. Just if you look at Ultimate soundtrack, how many?
Yeah, I pulled up specifically Donkey Kong Country, and it shows that 3 had nothing.
Wow.
Nothing.
Like it lists it by game, and there's.
I wonder. I'm surprised because like the music seemed fine for what I heard.
Yes, but here's another thing. 3's characters were Dixie and Kitty, and Dixie and Kitty are not playable characters in Smash.
Okay.
So
Very fair.
that also could be. Now, I guarantee you, if Dixie was playable or Kitty or both, there would be some DKC 3 music to play in whatever level.
That makes sense. I didn't think about that standpoint, but yeah.
So you can't always go to Smash, and all the other games that are included all feature at least Donkey Kong or Donkey and Diddy, so or K. Rool. So yeah, that is something where you're going to see less representation.
At least K. Rool's Up B is a reference to this game because he gets the little gyrocopter
Yes.
on his back.
Exactly.
So there's that.
Okay, that fight was super hard for me to figure out what to do. I was messing around with that fight. I'm throwing barrels at him. Nothing is happening. I had to look up a video, the speedrun of it, and I saw him hit him in the back with the barrels. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Attack is weak point for massive damage.
Yeah, my brain was not comprehending hit him. I was trying to hit him in the face, not hit him in the back.
Yeah.
K. Rool's moveset in Smash is actually taken from DKC 1, 2, 3, and 64.
Love it.
So
That's
it's
cool.
total homage to all the games.
I like when they do that. But I feel like Smash is a big homage in general at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to play Smash someday.
Yeah.
Again.
We could put World of Wyatt on here.
I do. And then I have to buy it for full price, and I don't want to.
It's worth it.
I know,
Smash
but
is worth.
I don't
And
like
the
buying
DLC.
a 5-year-old game for full price.
There won't be another one for a while, so.
Yeah, I know.
and get the DLC before they take out the shop, because you're gonna want those characters.
Don't even joke about that.
He's not wrong.
I'm still sad about the 3DS shop closing.
Yeah, it's eventually gonna happen. That's why physical is so important, because those digitals go away.
Pick up They Bleed Pixels coming soon.
Exactly. Exactly.
This will be out next week, so.
Yeah. See, perfect.
Oh no, I kind of feel that way, but I have you guys can see here, but I have a whole collection of games in my hand right now on a green and black thing. But
Yeah.
so that's another thing.
Collection.
I call it a collection.
Until you drop it and it breaks it, and then you go, oh. And
It's actually shockproof, the one I have. So.
I'll find a way to break it. Don't worry.
Oh, I'm sure I could break it. I mean, if I took a hammer to it enough, it would break. But I have dropped it a few times, and it has worked just fine.
Put some TNT strapped to it and throw it in the air and blow it up.
I also it has all my podcasts on it, so it has to be. It's precious to me. It's all my episodes.
You literally put all your eggs in one basket that way.
Yes, but it also stays very close to me, so it's right where I work.
How many people carry their phone with them all the time yet still break their phone even though it's right near them?
I haven't broken a phone in years. The last time I broke a phone, I think one of my exes probably threw it to break it. That's all. It's been a while.
My point is that's not always a safe thing because
No, I know.
people break things all the time when they're right near them.
Well, it goes in a drawer and stays locked up most of the time.
Lock it, padlock and key. Just,
Hey, it's got all my podcast episodes, even though they're all on Podbean. I can download them at any time, but still.
You're gonna have it in a briefcase, handcuffed to your arm at some
Yeah.
point. A football.
Oh, and
you're gonna hire bodyguards too, just to protect you.
another boss in this game that just confused the hell out of me and irritated me is when you have a boss fight where you're just the elephant. You have to like shoot the eyeballs when they open up or something. That's a weird fight.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah,
You can't
that's
really
for sure.
lose it either because it just kind of pushes you around.
Like it pushes you off.
Oh yeah.
You can die.
But it's
Well,
an experimental fight, and that's what's cool. It's something different.
I
Speaking
like it.
of the
I mean,
snowman,
I'm glad it exists, but I did not enjoy it.
the snowman fight might be the most unique out of all of them because you're just having a snowball fight modeled after the Swanky Kong bonus game where you're throwing. It's basically like a midway game where you're throwing balls at the targets or whatever. In the snowman fight, you're fighting the snowman in the background and you're throwing snowballs at him in the same manner. Pretty neat.
It was a cool fight.
He makes when you kill him. He goes and then explodes.
I liked it. I thought that was a cool fight. That was one that was fun for me.
It's neat.
And I felt like this game had a lot of, I think it had some neat levels too. It had a few like challenging levels, well, more than a few challenging levels, but like one where you have the piranha fish that follows you around and you gotta feed so it doesn't murder you.
A couple are notorious ones. There's that one, and there's the poisonous pipeline where it reverses your left and right controls, but not your up and down controls, and you're swimming the whole time. Oof.
Yeah, that one's not a fan. I know some people don't like the one with the saw that comes up. And you have to
I like
constantly
that
climb.
one.
I know some people don't like the ones where things are shooting at you from the foreground or the background.
It's a cool concept to have that in there. Like I enjoyed the way that it played. Like I enjoyed the differences that this game had with levels.
Yeah, it's variety.
Yeah, and I thought it did a good job of that. And like if we were kind of talking about the vehicle upgrades, as you finish worlds, you get 4 different vehicles. You don't get the fourth one unless you beat the secret level. But like the other 3, they open up more and more of the map for you.
Speaking of vehicles and levels, you don't have the minecarts in this one. You have the little bobsled thing.
The bobsled was cool.
Different enough because you have the rail running along the ceiling that you could hook onto. So you have basically 2 levels that you're jumping between. The neat variation on it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say minecart levels are classic, but there are some of them that are just very, very frustrating in the first 2 games.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's notorious. So I like the difference. I like that it took convention, on its head in a sense, and also, minecarts were kind of something that DK did, and Diddy did, and now it's Dixie's turn. She gets something different.
So are any of those balloon levels like in 2 where you have to ride them over the heat vents?
I'm okay with those. I don't like those. So I was okay they're not in here.
Yeah, that hit detection's a little jank.
Mm-hmm. Those are weird. Those are weird, challenging levels I did not miss. And then I was surprised, when I saw the secret world. The secret world did look really tough, which that didn't surprise me. But just how the levels play, you have the fact you have to get all the bonus coins, and then you take the bonus coins, and then you pay a bear so you can then get more levels. He blows them up or something, blows the rocks in front of it. I thought that was kind of odd the way they do it.
That was kind of like Mario, Mario World with Star Road in a sense.
Okay.
Each one opens up.
I mean, I thought it was cool. When I watched it, they look pretty challenging. Then you get gears, but then you use the gears to and get the gyrocopter, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the gyrocopter is awesome.
I was surprised when I saw it because essentially you only use it just to go and get tons and tons of banana birds that are hidden all over the world map.
3 banana birds.
Oh, is it only 3?
Yeah, they're specific to the copter, yeah.
Okay, because in the speedrun, he did it at the very end, so that's so it kind of...
But that's if you've completed everything up until that point.
Right.
But if you haven't yet, it's a nice reward to go back easily and find stuff you missed.
Yeah, because you only need the bonus coins and the DK coins to get the copter, but you don't need the banana birds.
What do the DK coins even do?
They're specifically, you have to get all 41 to get the copter, or 40.
Okay.
And then getting all the banana birds gives you the extra ending, whatever. Where they drop the eggshell on K-Rool.
And they chase after them. I thought that was just funny and stupid.
It's pretty dumb.
You fly a giant banana bird.
You do.
I had a hard time. And that K-Rool fight, you also get another K-Rool fight if you do all the secret stuff too. You get to fight him again. Mm-hmm. Which I saw, but I don't even remember what it was now. I didn't do it, of course, obviously. But
I think that's the one where it's got he's in the background and you have to throw the barrels up into the vent.
Oh, yep.
On him.
See, I think that was something different and innovative, and it plays especially that period when the early ages of 3D. Nintendo was really playing with 2D or 2.5D and doing 3D mechanics. I mean, this was also developed when the Virtual Boy was coming out, and Virtual Boy Wario Land, that was a big part of that, and Mario Clash. So it wouldn't surprise me if things like that were hey, let's try in some inspiration from that and try to do something different.
And not use Mode 7.
And not use Mode 7.
I'm okay with that. I don't care for Mode 7.
They use the super, Like not the Super Vax chick, but like different technology. I forget what the actual rendering technology they used was, but it was definitely improved. I mean, look at the water effects. They were like pseudo 3D. It was like really impressive for the Super Nintendo. In fact, it's still impressive today.
No, I mean, like, I think I'm trying to think anything else I want to mention, but like all the banana birds being like randomly on the world map, like when I was just watching how you just go to random caves and just press the A button and things, or random like mountains and all of a sudden something breaks open and there's a banana bird there. That's a really cool concept to me.
Yeah, the one that threw me for a loop is in the K3 stage, the Snow Mountain, where you go off the path to get to one of the bears, and then beyond him is another hidden bird.
And then the way that you have to do the birds, where you do like a little Simon Says puzzle.
Simon Says.
Like it's harder the more birds you get.
Yeah.
That is.
But they did something with the map. They made it interactive in a way, and that to me that says that they wanted to do, and they probably wanted to do more. They only had a year, but it's something better than just A to B to C. I mean, look at Mario 1, right? It just you go from level to level, beat World 1-4, you immediately go to 2-1. And then you look at Mario 3, which, you have the map, but then there's hidden areas of the map. And then you go to Mario World, and there's even more hidden areas on the map. You could tell they wanted to do something like that for Donkey Kong. And I like that. It opens it up. I think there's one port where you could choose 2 different levels you can go to, 2 different worlds you can go to. And that's cool because if you get stuck on a level, it's like, all right, let me go try a different level.
You get the 2 skis to make the jet ski. But like even the jump between World and DKC 1, because DKC 1 is just level to level to level, and then World has the different branching paths and the different exits that lead to different areas. Star Road, and it's wild.
Yeah, they took that and expanded upon it, and that's what I like. They were very creative. The team clearly had a lot of passion because they could have phoned it in. They could have said, "We need a year to make DKC 3. Let's take DKC 2 and just try and do more of the same because we have a year." They didn't have to do all this extra stuff because all that stuff, like Rambi was already invented. The coding was there. They could have easily used Rambi. The fact that they chose to not use Rambi, add Annanelli, and then have her have the sucking mechanic and the aiming, and like they made a more complicated animal buddy to take Rambi's place, which obviously took time to develop. They didn't have to do that. So it showed that they really wanted to make it something special.
It's another one of those what could have been situations. Like, what if they had a full development time?
Oh, yeah.
How different would this game be?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Like, it'd probably be pretty damn cool.
Here's another factor that we didn't touch on. The N64, or back then the Ultra 64, was actually supposed to be released in 1995. It got delayed to 1996. So this game could have been just a panic thing. Like, oh, crap, all our development has already moved onto 64, expecting it to be 95 for games to be released in 96. And now we had to push back the console. What do we do? And this could have been just one of those cases where Nintendo was like, let's rush out and let's get another game out there because we need it. That's why the Virtual Boy failed, because the game wasn't done. The system wasn't done. And Nintendo said the 64 is being delayed. We need something for 1995. And they threw the Virtual Boy out there to die before it was even ready because they were in panic mode because of this big delay. And obviously the PlayStation and the Saturn were out in 95, so they were already a year behind. So this game probably wouldn't have even existed had the 64 come out in 95. But because of that, I feel they wanted their A team to start working on 64 to make it a success. And they needed something to at least fill the Super Nintendo's next year that they almost got as a grace in 96. And maybe it was supposed to come out earlier. I don't know if it was ever delayed. And they had to delay it to November. But, that's possibly another factor to all this.
That's a cool idea. I mean, that would make sense.
I wonder if that's how Majora's Mask was too, since it was only in development 6 months. It came out in 2000. The GameCube was all 2001.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly why. Because if 1998 was Ocarina of Time, and then they were like, let's do it, but we got to do it quickly. Because when a system launches, the system teams don't just like, all right, I'm taking a break. They immediately start working in the R&D department on the next console and start doing the concepts. So they already knew what was happening with the GameCube at that time. So, absolutely. They were like, let's let Inuma do Majora's Mask, and then start working on what Wind Waker would eventually become. It's kind of like if you beat DK64, going back to Donkey Kong, if you beat DK64 100% or 101%, you get a video of everybody auditioning for the next game with the dolphin sign. There's a dolphin that says audition because the GameCube was codenamed Dolphin.
Oh, yep.
And wasn't named anything yet. So they were auditioning for the next systems game, which obviously, Rare got bought by Microsoft. But it was a little Easter egg and a little maybe inside to what was really going on internally.
Because
Donkey Kong Racing
technology.
Well, Donkey Kong Racing was being developed, so that could have been that, and that, obviously that got canceled. But yeah, so this game DKC3 might only exist on the universes that the 64 was delayed. Maybe there's another alternate universe where the 64 wasn't, and we never got a DKC3, and it was just the two games, and that was it, or those two games in 64.
That's cool to think about.
Yeah.
I also, before we wrap this up, I want to mention like the GBA version does look a lot different because, well, GBA.
Yeah.
But the world map is also different too. It's not the same. I think
it was similar.
It's from when I was watching the level. It has a few different levels too.
Yeah,
there's some different stuff.
The whole area where the urchin is apparently different.
Okay, and there's like I'm also seeing a different boss that we didn't have in our version either.
Yeah, that's probably that one from
the giant like starfish looking thingy that.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. No, it's just cool. I mean, I just like the concept, the fact that like I remember when these games came out for GBA. I didn't have a GBA, but I was very happy to see that they were going to be on more ways to play because I really do love when games get ported to things and there's more ways for people to experience them.
Better than the Donkey Kong Land games.
Oh, I like the DKL.
I want to play those someday.
I know you do.
DKL games are good. DKL 1 is actually it's a separate game. It's a sequel to DKC. It comes between 1 and 2. DKL 2 and DKL 3 are kind of like Game Boy versions of DKC 2 and 3. But Donkey Kong Land 1 is a brand new original game that story-wise takes place in between 1 and 2 and has brand new levels.
You have my attention. Okay, I know what I'm doing at some point now. Because now I have a reason to play that game. I've been wanting to go back to play that one at some point.
Oh, it's on the short side too, so if we need killer.
Well, it'd be a mini. But yeah, I kind of want to do it.
Lightning Lookout. That's another one of the shitty levels.
Okay, that level is shitty.
Oh, that one's tough.
Oh, man.
And it's not completely random because I was watching a speedrunner talk about it.
You can see it before it strikes, but sometimes you can't react, or if you're in water it'll kill you.
Uh-huh. But there's a way to they manipulate it. It's something to do based on your movement is where it hits too.
Right, yeah. Because it tries to strike where you're going to be.
Yeah. So they were fucking with it. Where they turn around and do things to make it change it.
Yeah. It's still one of those notorious levels.
Yeah, it wasn't cool. I didn't like it. I mean, Rewind liked it more than I would have normally, but it was still cool. Yeah. All right, any last things you guys want to say before I do have some questions, comments, and memories to read?
Let's go for it.
I'll interrupt you if I think of something.
Okay. Well, I mean, the one thing good about those is we always get stuff that we might have not thought to mention too. Like, that's happened multiple times. All right. And I posted this first in the I Watch the Entire Orblood Super Replay group from friend of the show, Nate McLean. A fantastic game. I always struggled against the waterfall boss as a kid, but that snowball fight with the snowman is one of the coolest boss fights in gaming history. And from Jeff Flynn, I always go to the mat for how ambitious this game was. DKC2 is pretty inarguably the superior game in no small part due to its tighter focus, but this one really swung for the fences. I think this one is better than 2, but I know 2 is really loved. So, from Matt Pickleton, very underrated, but DKC2 is one of the best 2D platformers ever made, so it's a tough act to follow, unfortunately. Love the openness and exploration focus of the overworld and hub worlds. Probably my least favorite of the SNES trilogy, but still a fantastic game. Okay.
Still high praise.
Yeah. From Daniel Jones, friend of the show, my favorite in the series. I always find that Diddy and Dixie are too alike in DKC2, except Diddy is less useful since he's lacking Dixie's helicopter move. So they replace Diddy with Kitty, whose heavy build's a much better complement to Dixie's moveset.
I like helicopter. That's
I couldn't say it, but yes. And from Mike Ryder, it's not my favorite of the trilogy, but I do think it's pretty great. I've always found it interesting that the almost overload of collectibles in this game would go on to define future rare games like DK64 and Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah.
I've never played Banjo-Tooie yet. I've only played Kazooie for this.
Well, if you didn't like Kazooie, you won't like Tooie.
Okay.
Tooie is much bigger.
Yeah, I don't think I liked Kazooie that much. Go listen to episode 8 or 7 or whatever the hell it was. I don't think I was a big fan of Kazooie when I played it.
We could recover it.
Then I got to replay it. I don't think I want to do that.
Coin dozers. Those are those enemies I couldn't think of earlier.
All right, and then from the official Laser Time community, from Nick Turner, this is one of my favorite SNES games. The whole series, really, outside of the Laser Time podcast, I never heard anyone shit on it before, but to each their own. It's good. And from Maxwell Power, I really don't care for the DKC sequels, and to be honest, while I like the first one, I do think it's overrated. To be honest, I feel like Donkey Kong Return games are generally better than the SNES ones. Yeah, but that's a whole years later homage.
I don't know. I kind of disagree.
I haven't played.
Well, the original Returns was on the Wii, and you had to use waggles to do things, and
It's on the 3DS also.
right.
Yeah. Well, the first one's on the 3DS.
Yeah, the Tropical Freeze is on the Switch and Wii U.
Everyone's
Yeah.
favorite.
The motion control for Returns wasn't the greatest, but I did the 3DS version of it, and it was perfectly fine. And there's added levels.
Oh, okay.
Challenging levels too.
I really want to try the 3DS remake now at some point. This got me the itch to play that.
It's very good.
Okay, maybe I'll have to try it sometime.
Can make that happen.
At some point, when I need a shorter... I'm assuming it's a short game too, so let's see.
No, I think they're longer
No,
than these.
they're long.
Oh, I mean, I'll be cheating, so it won't be as long, but okay. But yeah, that makes sense too. All right, and then from Vincent Goodwin, friend of the show, I couldn't afford an N64 for Christmas at 96, which was quite frustrating, so instead I rented DKC3, and Wrinkly Kong, of all people, has an N64 in their home, of all the indignity. Also, it's weird that 2/3 of Donkey Kong Country Trilogy you can't play as Donkey Kong.
Yeah, that's fair. What they call an artifact title.
And from Dylan Gallagher, I like this game, though I think it's where the level gimmicks start to become frictional to the flow of the game. The music also doesn't have anything as iconic as the previous two games, but there's still some great ambience in there. Again, I really think what Barry said earlier, I think really reflects well on that one. And from Jason Flint, I really love DKC3. I'm biased being from Canada and feeling represented in the landscape and world chosen for this aesthetically. I like DKC2 more and played it more growing up, but the free-roaming overworld, the addition of choice with rewards, progression in certain parts of the game, and the amazing soundtrack. One of the most impressive things about this game is like the two before, each level is unique and adds something novel just for that level.
Yeah, there's definitely that.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who really liked this game. So I have two more groups I'm going to read from.
Oh, real quick. He mentioned the overworld. To unlock the bonus world and then one of the banana birds, you have to do some extra stuff on the overworld. You have to go around some rocks. And to get the banana bird, you have to do a figure 8, and the bears kind of give you hints on how to do them.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
I would have never thought about doing that.
And if you open the secret world without talking to the bear that gives you the hint and go back and talk to him, he's like, "Oh, you must have read Nintendo Power."
That's cool. I like when games do stuff like that.
Join the Nintendo Fun Club, Mac.
And from the Donkey Kong community group that I'm part of, from Michael White, there's some tough levels in that game. I love it though. From Kevin Lopez, what I like about this game, the bosses and levels are Brazier, my third favorite from the first 3 games. And from Jonathan Holt, really good, equal to 2. Okay.
Wow.
And then from the last group, I'm going to read a few from Super Nintendo Super Group. All right, from Matthew Zukowski, opening couple worlds are really, really dull. The game gets better, but it's a slog for a little while. I didn't have any issues. I like that they're easier. Because I'm not good at platformers at all. I find out sometimes. And when I try to play, when I try to play Klonoa for the show, that was really, really hard without cheating. It's a really good game too. From Matt Smith, not as good as the first 2 games, but overall a solid game. And I think I just want to read a couple more from Mika V. Love the overworld in this game. And from Jenny William, extremely wishful thinking, but if Nintendo ever made a SNES Classic 2, DKC 2 and 3 should be included.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if is there a right issue thing I wonder with this?
I mean, with Rare, who knows?
No, I don't think so, because even the GBA games happened after
Yeah.
Rare was bought by Microsoft. The rights are with things like GoldenEye, because then not only the Bond rights, but Nintendo is the publishing rights, but Rare is the developer. In this case, when the buyout happened, because these are DK games, Nintendo owns the rights.
Okay.
Just like Star Fox Adventures, they own the rights on all characters. That's why Crystal appears. They own those characters. That's why Diddy Kong Racing was able to be done for the DS, but they had to remove Conker and Banjo and had to use Tiny and Dixie.
But we only got one fucking cameo with Gino ever since Mario RPG.
Well, two, kinda.
Where is Gino in other things?
He's in Superstar Saga. He
Yep.
shows up in one mini game.
And then Smash Brothers.
Well, yeah.
I like Gino. I will always be sad that I love that for. I love Super Mario RPG a lot. That is such a good game.
It's a good one.
Episode 125. If you want to hear about it for 2 hours. I'm always impressed with what numbers are in my head for what we've done on the show.
I was gonna say it's amazing you're able to pull these out.
Was out of nowhere.
Certain ones I can. I can't tell you when I did these two without looking it up, but which I'm looking up right now. And I think we should go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Mike, why don't you go first?
This is an easy shelf for me, and it might just be biased because, like, I had 1 and I had 3, but this is the one I played more often. Must be because I liked it more, I guess. Plus, as we talked about in the episode for 1, my copy is kind of fucked. So, go back and listen to that. That's a fun time.
98.
Yeah. Okay. Man, God, that feels like forever ago.
It was 2 years ago.
I don't really think I can sing this game's praises anymore. It's just dumb fun. It's not overly taxing in any means. So yeah, shelf.
Okay. And what about you, Barry?
Easy shelf. You can't go wrong with Nintendo first party. So it's one of those things where I think you should have it in your collection, and I think you should enjoy it because it's a great game.
Okay.
Definitely support the physical, even though it's old.
Oh, yeah, let's pull that up.
Actually, you should pull that up while I'm talking. So I'm going to also put this on the shelf. I came into it with no expectations, and I had a blast playing through this on the Switch with Rewind. I enjoyed myself. I just didn't want to go through the extra. I just don't like. I didn't want to go through the bonus coins because I didn't want to have to look up stuff. I just wanted to play a Donkey Kong Country game without looking up anything. And I had a great time. I mean, this is a great game to play. And the fact that you can play it on the Switch, if you have the online thing, it's just there, which is perfect. And I'm so happy that exists for people to be able to experience that way. You know, because that's the right way to experience this. I mean, Rewind is perfect. You get to play a great game. It comes with a service you're already paying for one reason or another, and it's just there. Okay, it's going to go on the shelf, and I'm so happy that I finally get to cover this one.
I don't know if these are repro carts, but like I don't see anything over 40.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
Not
that's
bad at all. It's the GTA version.
I wonder if that's more expensive.
Yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
I
know
did too.
The land games, but I forgot they ported the other ones over. It's around 20-ish.
No,
Wow.
Not bad at all.
no. I mean, I'm also, since we have Barry, he's a good person. I mean, it sounds like video game collection is starting to get a little cheaper now.
Yeah,
Slowly.
I would say it plateaued already, and it's now starting to come
Going
down.
That's good. I've heard with the
peak is
sealed.
done.
I'm
Should
glad.
I sell my copy of Cubivore while it's still worth like $700.
That's a gamble. It's a good one to have, though.
I like that game.
I love it too.
We covered that game. That was a weird ass game and a weird ass episode.
Yeah.
Animal Leader.
Oh no, I just can't get into physical collection. So I do have a few. I have a copy of Final Fantasy 3, Chrono Trigger, and 2 SNES near me, but unfortunately those boxes were ripped up by Kid Mike, which I regret. But
At least you have the card.
yeah, I still have some cards. I lost a lot of my old physical stuff between moves and ex-girlfriends. It disappeared.
Man,
So-
I'm still pissed. I had Mega Man X3 and Harvest Moon 64, and a friend quotes took them.
Oh.
Yeah, but I've got Cubivore, Chibi Robo, and Earthbound currently. So at least there's that.
Nice. Those are great games to have.
Absolutely.
That's why I think that's why, because I used to be a big in collecting physical, and I really fell off, especially when I have lost so much stuff that I used to have, and I just can't. And then moving is what really made me hate physical, and that's why I fell in love with Steam. And
That's why I can't move ever.
it's oh god, like I still have shit in the garage. Like I know I have a Time Crisis 3 box with a gun that I bought for $4 at GameStop once. I don't know why it was $4, but I'm just sitting there.
We moved into this house a year ago, and like my 64 or my 360 games are still just in stacks in a box. I'm like, I just don't want put everything up.
Mine are alphabetical by first letter, and that's it. Like all the A's are with the A's, but I haven't bothered to actually.
So yeah,
I don't care because I have no interest in playing. I mean, most things on 360 I can just go buy it on Steam and play it on Steam. So I just like, I'm like, well, most of them are also dirt cheap.
True.
So, and I'd rather play it on a PC than pull out my 360 and be like, are you still going to run after 10 years?
Should, if you kept it up.
I just don't trust it, I guess, at this point, too. I mean, I have the Star Wars one, Kinect one, so it runs fine, but I just always feel weird when I'm always worried. My Xbox One died.
Wow.
And it was a Titanfall 2 or Titanfall 1 bundle, so a pretty early one, but yeah, and everything got used. It just died one day. And that also kind of led me to being more Steam orientated, more digital because of losing stuff like that.
Yeah, but at least the system is relatively easy to get back.
Yeah.
I took my Switch and I transferred to the OLED with a bigger card, and it took me probably about 6 days to re-download all the games I had downloaded.
Wow.
6 days of downloading. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
That's a long time.
Where I could just easily now I could just put whatever game card right in there, boom, and play it. But
I also never download more than like 2 games at a time that I'm going to play. Like even on my Steam Deck, I only have Vampire Survivors, Pinball, and then whatever game I'm playing for the show, and that's it. I don't put. That's just how. Same with my PC. I only have the one game I'm playing at a time.
I'm the complete opposite. Like even when I get an inkling, oh man, I might want to play that. Let's install it.
I can't, because if I start a game, it's almost a guarantee that I'm going to do my best to go through said game. I have to. It's just that's how I play games. So like at one time I used to be careful about what I was start. I'm like, if I start this and it's terrible, I'm going to keep playing until I finish it. So we're going to be careful what we start, unless I really, really hate it. Mind Jack is one game where I said, fuck it, and just gave up and put it on the shelf.
I started that earlier this year.
I try and play one major game at a time while playing other stuff like the daily stuff. But there are times where, just between systems, I'll bounce back and forth between games.
Yeah, I don't know. I've changed with the podcast now. I have that structure, and I really like the fact that I have that structure where I have to do something in a certain amount of time. Like it works perfect for my mentality for some reason.
See, there you're right. See, for me, it's like there's games I want to play for myself, but then there's also games that I'm playing for review for Nintendo Fuse, and there's games I'm playing for review for possible doing physical for premium. So sometimes I'm playing like 5-6 games at a time.
For me, it's just mainly just the podcast. I mean, almost every game I play, even if I don't mean to be on the podcast, ends up on the podcast one way or the other. So because I have problems. So.
Like Master's Quest.
Well, why not? If you're already playing it, you might as well turn it into a podcast episode.
Yeah,
get more use out of my time.
Exactly.
It also helps me. It helps me finish things where I wouldn't. At one time, I would have never played through Fester's Quest, except for this guy convinced me to, and I had a decent time. I mean, it's not a terrible game. Not a good game, but it's not terrible.
So. I love stuff like DKC3. Like I said, I could just put it on for an afternoon and 100% it and be done.
I have problems going back to old games. Not because it's like, oh, the graphics or anything like that. Like, no, nothing like that at all. It's just time. Because like I said, there's so many games coming out that it's like, if I'm going back to a game I've already played and 100%ed, that means I'm not spending that time playing a brand new experience. Yeah. And then there's those droughts where there's like, oh, there's no game in the next month that I'm even remotely interested in. And that's when I'll be like, I'm going to go to the backlog and I'm going to go back and replay games at those points.
See, I've been the opposite. I've spent most of this year doing backlog stuff. I've been doing a backlog bingo for the Backlog Busters Twitter or podcast.
This year has been so good for releases.
Yeah, I've missed out on a lot of new stuff because I've been playing old stuff I haven't played before, and the whole time I've been doing that, I'm like, oh man, I want to replay this other thing.
Well, if you're playing a game you haven't played before, it's new to you, so it might.
Yeah, and that's the good thing. I try not to do a lot of replays. Like I just replayed Metal Gear Solid 4, which you get to hear about soon on this show. And I mean, that was a game I hadn't played since 2010, so it didn't feel, and I didn't remember anything.
That's when I'll replay stuff when I don't remember it.
Yeah. And every time you bring it up, I'm like, I just want to play Metal Gear Solid 3 again. Like, I'll play that thing as often as possible.
Have you played the different versions of Metal Gear Solid 3?
I have. I played the original PS2 one, and then I have the HD one. I have not
played the 3DS version. Try that, If you're going to replay a game, at least play a different version, get some new stuff.
That's fair.
I kind of want to play the DK3 or play the GBA version now that I've been watching a video of it. Like, it actually looks a little different. I'm gonna have to try it sometime. We shall see. It's unfortunately not on the Switch where I can just play it rewind really fast. But
Well, you know what? Maybe if they ever add Game Boy Advance, I'm sure that'll be one of the ones there eventually.
Yeah.
And then they're going to make me try to pay more, probably.
I want GameCube first.
Yeah, I really want GameCube to be somewhere accessible for people that aren't like me, so that more people can experience games in GameCube that have never, that you can't get a hold of. That'd make me happy. Pikmin 1,
Especially
Pikmin
since
2.
my copy of Thousand Year Door doesn't work anymore. I'd really like to play that again. Legit.
I would rather they did physical collections like the 3D All Stars. Where they did Sunshine there. Like do a Paper Mario physical collection with 64
That would be cool.
Year Door, stuff like that.
I started Sunshine just last night. I love that game.
I enjoyed it too.
Right, Mike?
No, it's apparently a dumb game, and I'm done for liking it.
It's the weakest of the 3D Mario games, but I still enjoed it.
I had fun when I played it for the first time earlier this year. I really had a good time.
I will say Corona Mountain can go die in a fire.
It is a fire.
It is, and it's the worst Mario level probably ever in existence, in my opinion.
I don't even remember what one you guys are talking about. I just know I enjoyed. I think I enjoyed Sunshine.
Corona Mountain was the final one before Bowser, where you had to use Flood and the boat to go.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was kind of annoying.
It just didn't work. It was frustrating.
I don't remember what I gave the game, if I shelved it or what I did with it. I know I had fun though, but I can't remember.
Overall, it's fun.
We should do a top 10 Mario levels.
All right, and if you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more Donkey Kong, you can hear Donkey Kong Country episode 98, and Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy Kong's Quest is episode 173 if you want to hear more of that. And Barry, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter, provided Twitter's still a thing, at Hog Hellfire. You can find me with Nintendo Fuse at nintendofuse.com, and as well as on Twitter at Nintendo Fuse and youtube.com/Nintendo Fuse. And then premiumeditiongames.com, you could find us there, where we're going to have our newest releases, They Bleed Pixels, Raji, An Ancient Epic, Love 3, and Eagle Island Twist, all up for order, so make sure to grab those now, as well as at Premium Edition 1 on Twitter, and on everything else, Premium Edition Games for social media.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's over 400, I love saying that, other episodes you go listen to of this show. We do games, movies, comics, TV seasons, all sorts of shit, whatever the hell I feel like doing. So definitely go check out our giant catalog. We also did an episode all about the Super Nintendo to celebrate its anniversary at one point, like over a year ago. So it has no number, but go find it.
Ago.
It was good. It's good. I remember being a good episode. Definitely go check that out. I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Fear. You can follow her on TikTok. And she sent me an image that somebody did follow her on TikTok and said, Mike sent me, and it made me smile because she sent me an image. So
that's awesome.
Hey, go listen to her. She went viral actually on TikTok. I wish
her Frozen review, I think.
Horror movie reviews. She did. That's what made her go viral. I thought that was pretty damn cool. I was like, oh. Yeah. And if you also want to give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, who did the MC, who helped me with the MC movies, along with Mike, who we all suffered through all that whole saga. Now I have no interest in really going back. You go check out his own podcast. His podcast, A Gamer Looks at 40. He interviews people and how video games affect their lives. And depending on, when you hear this, he's doing it right now. I think he'll still be going on for a while. A huge Zelda thing where he's just talking about all the Zelda games, and he'll be doing that for months. So go check that
You're
out.
on the Link to the Past one?
Yeah, I am. Of course. I should be on other ones too. I mean, I can talk. I told him I can talk almost every Zelda game but Breath of the Wild. I just can't talk that one. So
what? You can talk about Triforce Heroes, but you can't talk about Breath of the Wild?
I played Triforce Heroes. I played Breath of the Wild for about an hour, got stuck, and hated the game. And have talked
Four Swords.
I need to replay.
Avengers is good stuff.
No, not Four Swords Adventures. Four Swords. They're two different games.
Yeah.
I played Four Swords, played Four Swords Adventures, and I played the Heroes. The Tri-Hero game is bad.
It's not bad. It's fun with friends. It's bad with other people.
I played with friends, but our internet connection kept failing, and then we were arguing with each other. So
no.
Well, maybe not really with each other, but I remember there being a lot of arguing.
I just did it in the same room with them. It was great.
The internet was terrible when we played over the internet. I remember that. It would just like freeze and all sorts. It was bad. But yeah, playing in person would probably be fun if you could. But yeah, I didn't have a good time, and I someday want to go back and replay it, but we'll see. All right, and we have a Discord. If you want to join and talk with us, please join our Discord. And if you want to support the show, we have a Patreon. For as little as $1, you can vote in our Patreon poll. This month's poll is Christmas movies that aren't Christmas movies. We have Lethal Weapon, Ghostbusters 2, which people keep telling me is not a Christmas movie, but a New Year's movie. Batman Returns. I cannot remember the other one for the life of me right now.
Die Hard?
No, I didn't do Die Hard.
Specifically not Gremlins.
Gremlins, yeah. Yeah, no, I purposely didn't do Die Hard because I thought it would win for sure, so I decided not to do it.
So content with that one. Everyone, it's a Christmas
Oh.
movie.
And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube at audio only, and I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.